Ever wonder how it is that we have such a big difference in wealth between the regular working class and the top 0.1% in the United States? And before you answer that question with complaints about how the system is rigged and how the rich rob the poor to make it to the top, just stop for a second and listen. If you do feel this way, then you just don't understand the fundamental basics of how money works and how income is created in a free market economy like the one we have in our country. One of the biggest concepts that you need to grasp is the 4 different forms of income and how each of them determines whether or not and how easily and quickly you can grow your wealth. This concept was best demonstrated by Robert Kiyosaki in his best-selling book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, through what he called the Cash Flow Quadrant. And it is what I'm going to explain in this installment of my Chalkboard Real Estate Investing series. So let's get right into it. The Cash Flow Quadrant is a visual representation of the 4 different possible categories of income that a person can earn. The graphic is divided into 4 sections like this: the E quadrant, the S quadrant, the B quadrant, and the I quadrant. The E quadrant stands for employee. This is where most people fall. They receive a steady paycheck from an employer and have little control over their income. They are dependent on someone else to provide them with income. In other words, they are trading their time for money. The problem with being an employee is that you have an absolute limit on your earning potential, which is time. There are only 24 hours in a day and 168 hours in a week. So even if you could possibly work every single hour of every single day, the amount of money you can make is finite. The only way to make more money with this type of an income source is by increasing your hourly wage or the annual salary you receive, which requires the cooperation and agreement from your employer. But there's a limit on that as well. An employer will only be willing to pay you more money if the employer feels like they can continue to remain profitable and that there are no other equally competent people who are willing to do your job for less money. So as an employee, you actually have a limit not only on how many hours you can possibly trade for money, but also the amount of money each of your hours will be worth, which is set by the labor market. The S quadrant stands for self-employed and also sometimes stands for specialist. This quadrant includes individuals who typically work for themselves rather than an employer. These individuals can be highly paid, such as lawyers who are partners in a law firm or doctors who are members of a medical practice. It also includes independent contractors such as freelance writers, plumbers, construction workers, independent photographers, and so on. They have more control over their income than employees, but they're still trading time for money. They may set their own schedule and their own prices for their labor, but they still have to put in work in order to earn money. And ultimately, the self-employed also suffer from the same limitation as the employees. This is because they can only get paid for the time they personally put in or the results they personally provide. If they stop working, they stop making money. Also, the amount of money they can charge is limited by what the market is willing to pay for comparable services. For example, if you're a lawyer, you can't ask to be paid $1,000 per hour if there are 5 other lawyers in the local market who can represent the client equally well for just $250 per hour. As a self-employed specialist, you are of course free to charge whatever you want for your services, even if it's $1,000 per hour, but chances are that your clients and customers will not pay you what you want if they have other less expensive and equally good alternatives. For this reason, while you may be able to make more money as a self-employed person than a person working for an employer, your income still has a ceiling. The B quadrant stands for business owner. This is where you are the owner of a business and your income is generated through the efforts of others and the profitability of your business. You have the ability to grow your income exponentially because as your business grows, you can hire more workers and continue leveraging their labor in order to continue providing the goods and services which the market wants. Now, before you say, see, there it is, the business owners exploit the laborers and therefore they are robbing them and profiting unfairly. The thing you need to understand is that without the business owner willing to take on the responsibility of creating and running the business, there would be no income for the workers. Also, the workers are being paid what the market feels their labor is worth. This is because if the employer is grossly underpaying its workers in the free market, the workers can and will leave that employer to go work for a competitor or another employer who pays them more. And that other employer would be happy to have them because it would allow that other employer to outcompete its competitors and make more money, which is the goal of all business owners. The employees working for a business are not doing so involuntarily. The freedom inherent in the private sector employee-employer relationship is what makes it the fairest system of labor alienation there is. Not only that, but the reason the business is able to exist and is able to make money and create wealth for the business owner is because the business provides some service or product that the broader consumer market needs and wants. If it didn't, then it wouldn't last and it wouldn't make any wealth for its owner at all. In fact, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 65% of all businesses in the United States fail within 10 years of starting. That means that the business owner who invests money, time, effort, and energy in a new business idea, buys equipment, pays attorneys, sets up legal entities, hires staff, only has a 1 in 3 chance of long-term success. But this is why those 35% who do succeed end up becoming uncommonly wealthy. The risk is commensurate with the reward. The last quadrant, quadrant I, stands for investor. This is where you generate income through investments such as real estate, stocks, bonds, art, cryptocurrency, precious metals, and so forth. Investing allows you to earn money passively, and it's one of the most powerful ways to achieve financial freedom. The key to being a successful investor is to invest in assets that generate passive income and to diversify your investments. This quadrant is the one that usually requires some amount of saving in order to get started. Most of the time, you need to invest money in order to make a return. So in this case, your money is working for you rather than you working for your money or having employees work and help you create your money. What's important to understand about the cash flow quadrant overall is that regardless in which quadrant you start, you don't have to stay in that quadrant. In fact, almost all successful entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors at one point or another were in the employee and/or the self-employed quadrant. Often it is necessary to start in the employee or the self-employed quadrants in order to pay your day-to-day bills while you pursue your entrepreneurial endeavors that will allow you to eventually move over to the business or investor quadrants. The goal for everyone who seeks financial freedom should absolutely be to eventually leave the ENS quadrants and to end up in the B and I quadrants, and ultimately be entirely in the I quadrant. By diversifying your income streams and investing in assets that generate passive income, you can achieve financial freedom regardless of your current income level. Thanks for watching this video. If you got value from it, please leave a like, follow me on social, subscribe if you're watching this video on YouTube, and check out the other videos on my channel where I dive even deeper into various real estate investing topics and concepts.